Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Kina and this is She's Altered. If you're new here, go on ahead and join the family. I think that the name, I'm still trying to find like a name for the family, because you know, so far I just call y'all family and friends, and family are the people who are a part of this altered life, and friends are the people that I hope will come and join the family. So I think I'm gonna give you guys like the name like Alt Nation. I don't know, let me know how you're feeling that name down in the comments below, or if you have any ideas of what you guys would like to be called, you know, instead of just, you know, the basic family, leave it down in the comment section below. So if you're new here, go on ahead and check out some of the other videos that I previously posted on my channel, and if you like what you see, then go on ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so that every time I post a video, you'll be the first to know. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the lonely season in your walk with Christ. Now, what do I mean by when I say lonely season? So a lonely season in your walk with Christ, it's that period that happens in the very beginning, right after you make that commitment in your heart that you're getting ready to take your relationship with God seriously. Then you're gonna have to be taken into this lonely period, or you can refer to it as your wilderness season. And so in this season, it's when you're first giving your life to Christ and you're really committed and you're really serious, and God has to begin to strip all of the world out of you, all of the world, because you've been in the world for however long you were in the world for before you came to Christ. And now, before God can really unlock you into purpose and unlock you into destiny, he has to take out all of the world's influences that you've been filled with over this period of time. So that lonely season is when you're going through, is when, you know, you might lose friends, family members might even turn against you, things that you used to do, places that you used to go, you know, ways that you used to talk, music you used to listen to, things that you used to watch. Like everything in this period is beginning to be stripped down, like strip. And it's a hard season. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it is a very hard season, but it is a necessary season. I would consider this season to be the very first part of your deliverance, and your deliverance season, that is like, I'm gonna get into some videos. I really want to talk about deliverance. What is deliverance? You know, demons, you know, are demons real? Yes, they are. Talk about that, how they manifest, how you can be a Christian and have demons at the same time. Like, but that's gonna be a completely separate video at a later time. My earring just fell out. So yeah, in this video, I'm just going to be talking about so far, you know, my experiences and what I was going through in my lonely season. You know, the first video, one of the first few videos that I put up on my channel is about the 5 essential keys that you'll need in your walk with God. And I mentioned in there about that lonely season of walking with God. So in this video, I'm going to be expounding more upon that. My lonely season lasted from about, it was about 7 months. I want to say roughly around June-ish to about January. I'm trying to think. About 2016. About June 2016 to about January-ish 2017, before, you know, when God finally brought me my godly community. But during that period, you know, of course, in that period, I didn't really recognize that I was in a lonely season, although I knew that I was alone in that season. So what it looked like for me is that around that time is when around like June, or maybe a little bit before June, sometime in that summer of 2016 is when you know, God revealed to me that my relationship that I thought I had with him really wasn't a relationship at all, and I was really just living in religion up until that point. And you know, if I would have died and, you know, get up to God and have to answer for myself, and I'm thinking like, oh, what's up, Jesus? Like, oh yeah, you finna let me into heaven? He's like, depart from me, I never knew you. And it's like, dang. So when he kind of opened my eyes to realize that I've been operating in religion this whole time and didn't have a relationship, that was kind of my wake-up call. And if you guys want to hear, you know, a more detailed video, you know, about my turning point in my life of when I gave my life to Christ, and, you know, basically my testimony, let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll make a completely separate video going in depth to that, because the story of how, you know, God basically called me out of the world, or called me out of religion, it's a pretty good story. So with that, I was really serious, and I started going to the Lakewood Young Adults. I'm in Houston, by the way. I started going to the Lakewood Young Adult services and things like that. And the lonely season for me is I knew I wanted to be serious about my relationship with God, but I wasn't around anybody else. Like, I really thought that I was the only person in like my whole undergrad and my whole school, definitely in my classes and stuff, who was really serious about being on fire for God. So when I found the Lakewood Young Adults, and when I went to it the first time, it was just like, wow, like this is where all the on fire, you know, young adults be at. And so I would go there and I would be like, man, like I really wish that I could make like some friends here, because I still like, and when I say lonely season, I don't mean that like I didn't go anywhere, I was locked in my room the whole time. No, I still had friends and I still went out from place to place. But lonely, like you can feel lonely and be lonely even if you're in a room full of people. So I knew that because I was changing on the inside, that on the inside I felt lonely because I didn't have anybody to walk this spiritual journey with me. I didn't have anybody to talk about it with. I didn't have anybody to pray with me about it. Like, I didn't have that community that I needed. Because I mean, the things that I was going through in this season, I couldn't go and talk to, you know, my other friends about it, because they're not on that same path as me. They're not, you know, with that same mindset that I am. So I was alone in that time. So during this season, a lot of times I would go and hang out with friends, but even while I was hanging out with them, I would just be like inside I felt different. I was like, this isn't me anymore. Like, I don't want to do this. And so eventually I just started declining, like, oh no thanks, like I'm good. And I just stopped, because it's just like I'm not interested in doing these kind of things anymore. Music that I listened to started changing. Like, I stopped listening to as much secular music, and I started, you know, changing and filtering my music playlist and started putting more gospel and, you know, praise and worship type songs in there. This is when I really was heavily into journaling. Like, my journal at this period of time was my friend. Like, me and Jesus, I just be like, okay, dear God. And like, we would literally be talking about everything, because mind you, like I felt lonely on the inside. I felt like I had nobody to talk to. So I would just be journaling heavy. And I really feel like journaling in the very beginning, during that lonely season, and really talking to God, that was like, I think that was the most vital part of my entire walk. I don't think I would be where I am today if I didn't have this lonely season, and if I wasn't journaling so heavy. Through journaling, he would open up my eyes to different things that I was doing, and how, you know, it was looking good from the outside, but you know, he was basically just exposing it. So there's a lot of things I stopped doing, a lot of people that I stopped talking to, places that I stopped going, and I was just in a place where I can remember so many times, you know, I really wanted community, really wanted community so bad. Because like, you know, at Lakewood, Pastor Nick, he would always say, you know, Christianity, you can do Christianity alone, you can do this walk alone, but it's best in community. And I took that to heart, and I was like, you know, I know that you're right. Because I would look around me and I would see so many little groups of friends that's all around Lakewood, and then they had their little life groups, and they would, you know, be hanging out and connecting. And I even tried to go to one of the life groups, but the one that I went to in the very beginning, I went, and yeah, it just was not it was not for me. So I didn't go back. And so I was just like, man, like I would be sitting in church in this big old, like Lakewood is huge, guys. So I would be sitting in this big old church and feel so alone. I'd be going to church by myself, Bible studies by myself, all of it. I would just be sitting there, and in my mind I was just like, oh, God, like I really wish that I had at least one friend to come to church with me, that I can talk about, you know, oh yeah, talk about what we learned about, talk about the message, any of that, like talk about the Bible, talk about Jesus together. Like, I wish that I had one friend. And so I would just sit and I'd just be looking around like, it's okay. I know eventually that you are going to bring the right community for me, and when you do, it's going to be great. So that was hard. So I really, like, in that lonely season, I really had to lean on God, and I really put, you know, all of my focus and all of my attention. I would watch tons of sermons online, you know, listen to my worship music, journal heavy, you know, all of that. And as I, you know, I felt myself changing and growing, but it was still like that community aspect that was missing. And even the times where I was still, you know, with my friends that I had at the time, I would be out with them, and I'd be like, oh yeah, like, you know, I would get my social meter filled, if that makes sense. But even with being out and being social, I still felt alone, because it's just like, you know, where I'm going, I can't relate with y'all no more on the stuff that you're doing. Like, I don't want to do the stuff that you're doing. I don't want to talk about the stuff that you guys are talking about. I don't even want to hear about it. Like, I just want to like completely like pull myself. And so that period of time is very important, because like I said before, during this period in the beginning of when you're taking your walk seriously with God, God has to prune you. You know, God always says, you know, that we're grafted in branches. So he has to prune us of all the bad things that we were doing when we were in the world. And so sometimes, you know, your friends, that people that you were friends with in your BC days, they are not going to be the same friends that you have in your non-BC days. Okay, sometimes family members, you know, depending on your family background, when they start noticing that you're changing, so there might be jealousy, there may be a number of things that could pop up, and you might have to, you know, come up against family and feel isolated and separated from your family because you're choosing to follow after Christ and they're still choosing to do whatever it is that they want to do. You know, everybody has their own process, everybody starts their journey at their own time. When you give your life to Christ, you have to realize what you're saying. You are giving your life to Christ. That means you're giving your social life, your relationship life, like all of it. You're giving it all to Christ. And so a lot of those things have to be torn away because the foundation that it was built on is shaky. A lot of friendships, foundations that it was built on, shaky, and it's loose and has to be destroyed, and it's not of God, and that's unfortunate. And you know, you can always, you know, wish them grace and love and, you know, no ill will, but you know, where you're going, not everybody can come with you, and that's just the harsh reality. And you also have to start saying goodbyes to some bad habits. Like some of the habits that you used to do, they have to go during that lonely period. Like the things, like it's gonna start on the inside. You may not automatically stop doing certain things right away, but how you feel about it is going to start to change on the inside. Like going certain places where you used to go, you used to be able to have fun and turn up, and now, you know, when the Holy Spirit's working on you, you're just there in these places and you're just like, why am I here? Like, this isn't really helping me grow. Like, this is keeping me in the same place that God has been trying to bring me from. So I really don't need to be here right now. Because I used to think that, you know, like, oh yeah, I can go out and have fun. Like, I know how to control myself, and, you know, I know how to represent myself, and I know I'm not going to do anything foolish. Like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do none of that stuff. So when I'm going out to have fun and stuff at these parties, like, I'm going out just to have fun, like just because I like to dance. But then those things, like, God, even in the midst of being in those places, it would just be like, daughter, why are you there? Why are you there? And I'd be like, it's fun, God, it's fun. You know, I'm turned up. Yay, we've been turned up. We've been turned up. No. And God's like, turn it down. That's the old you. That's the old you. So yeah, this lonely season, that first period, that lonely season is very crucial, and it's gonna be hard. I'm not even gonna, you know, sit here and try to sugarcoat it. There's gonna be a lot of times where on a Friday night, you know, where God doesn't want you to go out. You just have to stay home, watch sermons, journal, and all of that, and it's gonna feel lonely, especially if you're, you know, going through this season and you're in college. You're gonna feel like you're missing out on the college experience because everything that you see your peers doing, that you're not gonna be able to participate in anymore because you're trying to, you know, you're serious about that Christ life. Like, you're trying to change, you know, you're trying to change everything, and change is hard. Change is not easy. I mean, you've been living in the world and you've had your routines and things that you're used to, and now that you're coming into the kingdom of God, you got to adopt kingdom protocol, and you got to leave all that other stuff behind. So I just want to be straight up and honest. Like, it is not easy. Some of your friends might even turn against you when you're in this period because they're gonna say that, oh, you acting brand new, you think that you better than somebody, blah 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 blah. Oh, and then during that lonely season, they'll even try to remind you of what you used to do to try to lure you back in, or they'll really be wanting, like, oh, like, why don't you want to hang out with us anymore, and blah 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 blah. And you just have to learn how to, you know, no thanks, you know, I used to do that, I'm not interested in that anymore. You know, I'm serious about my relationship with God. That it is what it is. I'm sorry, and it's okay, and just have faith and just know that God has your godly community out there for you, the people that he has assigned to your life to be your friends, to walk with you, to hold you up, to, you know, to iron sharpens iron, you know, to lift you up. If you fall, then you'll have somebody there to catch you. God has that in the plan. But if you are surrounded by a community of people who only remind you of your old self, then you have no room for God to bring in new people into your life. Because if he's going to bring some on fire, serious about him, you know, people into your life, if they come into your life but they still see that you're attached to all these other people, they're gonna think that you're of the same mindset of them, and then you're gonna, like, before God can really even like cultivate that friendship, they're not gonna want to be friends with you because they're gonna think that you're still your old self. They won't see you as this new creature that you're trying to become if you're still, you know, hanging out with such and such and such and such. You gotta let God take all of that away. You gotta let even the music, you know, the things that you watch, all that's gonna be stripped. You're gonna feel like, dang, I can't watch nothing, I can't do nothing, I don't know what's going on in the latest show, I don't know the latest song that's coming out, and all that has to be stripped, because your mind, like during this process, your mind is going to have to be renewed. And so by the renewing of your mind, you can't on one hand say that you're renewing your mind, but on the other hand, you keep putting all the old things that you need to be renewed from into your mind. You can't do that. Like, you have to choose one or the other. You're going to have to either choose the old stuff that you've been doing, or you're going to have this new stuff that you're trying to do. So either you're going to go and keep thinking on worldly things, or you're going to stop and push away the worldly things, and you're going to adopt the things of God. It's your choice. You got to pick. So the lonely season, it's very uncomfortable, but it's very necessary, and it's very vital to your growth. And I promise you, once you get to the end of that lonely season and God brings you that community to support you, oh my gosh, it is the absolute best feeling ever. Like, a lot of times that even in my friends group, I always felt like I kind of didn't belong, like I was the oddball out, because, you know, while everybody else, they had their interests and things that they liked, I was always a little bit different. I'm like, I don't really like that. That's not really for me. And so some things I would go along with just because, like, I didn't want to be alone. But then other things I'm just like, no. And so I would always feel like, you know, the little weird one, or like the grandma or something like that. But then when God brought me my community, it's like, oh my gosh, like, we're all weird. So it made it a whole lot better, a whole lot more comfortable. And like, the growth that I was doing when I was alone, it was cool. But once I got into community, oh my gosh, my growth just, and then it made this journey like so much more easier. Like, even once I got my community, there was still, you know, certain things that still had to be stripped and removed away, but it wasn't as hard. It was a whole lot easier because we're all being stripped. We're all having our lonely seasons or whatever, you know, we're all in the process of being renewed. We're all going through deliverance, and so we can all lean on each other and talk about it. And I'm telling you, just hold out and wait for the godly community that God has for you. And not only that, you should be praying about anybody new who comes into your life, anybody who's in your life, and anybody new who comes into your life. I prayed about all of my friends, like old, new, all of that. I asked, like, all right, God, I'm giving them to you, and even if this may hurt, but like, I want you to look down my contact list, and who do I need to get rid of, who is not, you know, can't come with me in the next, like, who do I just need to, you know, distance myself with love from. And God would tell me the people that I need to distance myself from and the people that I can still stick close to. And so I just had to, you know, still love them. Everybody I've called, check up on to this day, but there's just gets to a certain level, it's just like, you know, it is what it is. I'm trying to live for God. I prayed about all my old friends, whether I could keep them, whether I couldn't. That was a hard prayer, because it's just like, but God, I love them. Like, I love them. But no, I had to pray about that. And then the friends that I was getting, like any circle, I'd be like, all right, God, like, is this the group of friends that you have for me? And sometimes I would join things and I'm like, no, these ain't the people. And then once I finally, and then some people's like, oh yeah, like I could see this person is going to be in there for the long haul. And I mean, those prayers and, you know, who showed me was going to be in there for the long haul, so far that's still holding on strong. So one of my scriptures of encouragement, just so you know, when you're in these moments and you feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm so alone, like does anybody in this town know Jesus? Psalms 68 and 6. The first part of it says that God sets the lonely in families. Oh my gosh, my camera's getting ready to die, so I'm gonna try to hurry up and record this. So God has a family for you that he's gonna set you in. You just have to be patient, have faith, and depend on him to bring you into that, and not try to create your own family for yourself, but let him bring you into that family, because he has family for you. So having a lonely season is really important, because I mean, let's just go to the Bible. Let's open up our Bibles right now to Luke 4:42. And I'm reading it from the King James Version. Luke 4:42, and it says, and when it was day, he departed and went into a desert place, and the people sought him and came unto him and stayed him, that he should not depart from them. And I'm going to also read it from the Amplified Version to also give it a little bit more clarity. When daybreak came, Jesus left Simon Peter's house and went to a secluded place, and the crowds were searching for him, and they came to him and tried to keep him from leaving them. So you're going to find that that's going to happen a lot. You know, it says when he went, when it was day he departed, he went into a desolate place. So when you enter into your lonely season, you're gonna have all of your friends, all of the people that you're so used to being around, that are used to, you know, this old version of you, that they're gonna start seeking and wondering like, hey, where'd you go? You know, you don't go out with us anymore, you don't hang out with us anymore. And they're gonna want to keep trying to bring you back in. They don't want you to leave them. They don't want you to go and start this journey by yourself. And not only just people, you know, when you make the decision that you're going to give your life to Christ, not only does people around you know, but hell knows too. When they're getting ready to lose their grip on somebody, they don't want you to leave them. They don't want you to leave them. So they're going to keep sending people back. Boyfriend that you couldn't get over, gonna send him. He gonna start chasing after you. Your friends gonna start chasing after you. You're gonna know that everybody's just gonna want to try to keep you in this place that you're in, but you can't stay there anymore. So embrace the lonely season that you go in. I promise you it's gonna be okay once you get to the other side of it. If you're in your lonely season right now, just have faith, because God has a family for you. And just think that in this time, you know, in this time you are renewing your mind. You know, if you suffered with anxiety, if you suffer with depression, all of that, like in this process, your mind is being renewed. All of the things that were coming from the world that was causing you to feel this way, God is going to begin to strip all those things away, and he's going to give you a spirit of peace. He's going to give you a spirit of joy to walk around with, and you won't have to worry about, you know, you can put all of your anxieties and cast that on the Lord, and you won't have to take on all of these burdens by yourself. But in order to get to that place of peace, you have to go through this wilderness part. You have to go through this lonely season. And I just want to make you all aware, you know, when you say yes to God, and when you say that you're going to give your life to him, you have to go through this period. And if you haven't gone through this lonely season in your walk with God, where he started separating you from all of the people that you used to be around, and if you can look at your life and honestly see how you have both God and you have your old way of life, then I'm sorry to tell you, you might still be lukewarm. And I know I can say that because that's where I was. I was still doing, you know, everything in my BC days, what I wanted to do. And of course, I've raised in church. Okay, I've known about Jesus, I've known about God, I know about all of that. But like I said before, I was in religion all of that time, and I didn't have a relationship. And when you get into a relationship, you know, just think like it, just in the context, when you get into a relationship with somebody, those single behaviors that you had, all of the things that you did when you were single, you can't do that anymore when you're in a relationship. You're in a relationship, you're accountable to somebody. So it's the same mindset when you enter into a relationship with Christ. The things that you used to do when you were single and when you were without God, you can't do those same things that you do now that you've entered in this relationship. You know, you have to die to yourself. And that's really what happens in this lonely season period. It's a period of death. Like, you're dying to yourself daily. Like, he's gonna have to rip you from some things, and it's gonna be very uncomfortable, and it's gonna be painful, but it's gonna be so necessary. And do not be conformed to this world any longer with its superficial values and customs, but be transformed and progressively changed as you mature spiritually by the renewing of your mind, focusing on godly values and ethical attitudes, so that you may prove for yourselves what the will of God is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect in his plan and purpose for you. So it's important that you have to go through this lonely season, so that way your mind is constantly being renewed. You know, my mind was being renewed as I'm journaling. My mind was being renewed as I stopped listening to, you know, some of the songs and stopped flooding my mind and my spirit with all of these things of the world. My mind was being renewed. Like, I was literally being purged in this season, like purge. And God pulled me close to him to spend time with him, so that way I can really see. Because I mean, before that period, you know, when I was just in religion, you know, I had scales over my eyes, I couldn't see, my ears were closed, and I'm thinking this whole time that I'm seeing and hearing correctly. But it wasn't until God removed the veil that, you know, I could really see what was going on around me. I could see why, like, I could see the type of people that I was talking to, type of guys, and like the veil was lifted, like, oh snap, like you're not okay. I could see why, you know, doing the certain things that I'd be doing, because, you know, the certain environments and contexts that I would be in. Like, I was just able to see so much once I got into this lonely season. It's like once I entered into this lonely place in this wilderness, it's like clarity all over. So the takeaways from this video are, point blank period, you're gonna have a lonely season in your walk with Christ. Either you've already had your lonely season or you're getting ready to go into. But once you decide to either come out of the world, whether you were living a lukewarm lifestyle or you had no lifestyle at all and you're just coming to know God, everybody's period of lonely season is different. Now my period of lonely season, like I had said before, was only a couple of months. I mean, about 7-ish months before I was introduced to my community. But for you, it could be a year, it could be 2 years, it could be a couple of years that you have to go through this lonely period. You might not even be able to find, that community in the space that you're in. God may literally have to move you to a new place and, to leave your family, leave your friends, leave everything that you were comfortable, everything that you knew, in order to get you into a new environment. And in that new environment, then he will introduce you to your community. And it's okay. We've all been there. I'm sure there are plenty of people who can share testimonies of what their little lonely season looked like. It's cool. You're going to make it. You're going to survive. God is going to bring you your friends, okay? You're going to have that godly community that you've been looking for. The friends that you're saying goodbye to, you're going to see at the end of it why you needed to say goodbye to them in the first place. Like, it's going to be okay, I promise you. So that's all I have for this video. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're new here and you're not already. Like this video and let me know down in the comments below if you're either currently in your lonely season, if you've already been through your lonely season, or if you have any other questions about the lonely season, any other questions about anything, just leave it down there in the comment section below. I just want to give a shout out to all my Alt Nation, all my Altar family. I think we're growing slowly but surely, and I just thank God each and every day. I thank you guys for being drawn to my channel. I thank you for every person who's ever subscribed, whoever commented, whoever liked something, whoever shared it with a friend. I really, really, really appreciate you. I really appreciate your support, and I don't take it lightly. So you guys are my family. I love y'all. I'm praying for y'all, and yeah, that's it. This is what we do. We alter life. And man, when I tell you, like, you guys are a part of the beginning of this journey and the beginning of this whole altered life. But I'm telling you, the vision that God has given me for where we're gonna be, oh, y'all chose a perfect time to be a part. So don't be stingy. Tell your friends to come and be about this altar life, because we go in places. We got big things popping in the future for Alt Nation. Okay, let me know down in the comments if you like Alt Nation. If you don't like it, give me another suggestion and I might consider it. But yeah, so So I've been thinking lately that I'm gonna start doing some video diaries, and